morning, everyone. Today, we are going to analyze the relationship of deviance and social exclusion in relation to the SDG number 10, Reduced Inequalities.
This report examines the relationship between deviance and social exclusion in relation to Social Development Goals 10, Reduce Inequalities. It highlights the deviant behavior, societal perception, marginalized certain groups, perpetuating cycle exclusion. By connecting this concept to SDG 10, the report emphasizes the need to address both issues to create more equitable and inclusive society.
Deviance and social exclusion are rooted from our societal norms, which define what behavior is viewed as acceptable. This shows that power structure affects our lives, where it leads to isolation for those who don't fit in, making it hard for everyone to feel included.
Deviant behavior can include anything from minor infractions like jaywalking to more serious violations like crime. It is not the act itself, but the social responses that often defines deviance. Defining deviance is challenging due to its diverse application and the varying interpretations offered by sociological theories. While criminology defines deviance as conduct violating norms, values, or laws, this culture-dependent definition hinders objective consensus and creates difficulties in legal and policy contexts.
So let's receive the social exclusion concept. So what is social exclusion concept? Social exclusion is the process through which individuals and groups are systematically marginalized from social, economic, political, and cultural systems. This exclusion can lead to the feelings of isolation and restricted access to resources, opportunities, and participation in our society. And the best example of these are the factors such as poverty, disability, race, and discrimination often lead to social exclusion.
Digit 10, Reduce Inequality. Sustainable Development 10, 6, Reduce inequalities within and among countries. Target 10.1, aims of the 40% for the population experience higher income than the national average by 2030, measured by the growth rates of household expenditure or income per capita.
The relationship between deviance and social exclusion. Although social exclusion often targets specific deviant behaviors, not all forms of deviance result in inclusions, reflecting a complex interplay between societal norms and marginalizations. Society often embraces certain behaviors when they align with popular trends and cultural movements, viewing it's a valid form of self-expression. However, behavior associated with crimes can lead to exclusions. These selective acceptance highlight the societal norms and shaped by contexts where deviants are normalized while other forms prompt to be social distance, whether actions are acceptable or rejected based on what people believe is normal and safe.
The impact of deviance and social exclusion. So, deviation always leads to two different yet interrelated responses by observing group members. A greater willingness to exclude the deviate and an increased likelihood to leave the group as a consequence of more severe deviations. So, also when in a group acts differently, this always leads to two connected reactions. People wants more to exclude that person or may even feel an urge to leave the group themselves, especially if they see the group's acceptance of that behavior as a threat to their identity.
Social exclusion often fosters anger and resentment towards society, potentially driving individuals to commit crime as a way to express their frustrations or gain a sense of control. Additionally, those who feel excluded may develop mental health issues like depression and anxiety, leading them to adopt deviant behavior as a coping mechanisms and associate with others who share similar feelings of alienation. Ultimately, forming a subculture that reinforces negative actions over time, prolonged exclusion can erode adherence to societal norms, resulting in a greater likelihood of engaging in deviant behavior without a concern for the consequences.
And I'll be reporting about the socio-economic factors affecting deviance and social exclusion. So what are these social economic factors? First is poverty. People from poor and underprivileged areas don't have access to good education and healthcare. This could lead them to commit crimes in order to survive or out of frustration. For example, a person steals food because they cannot afford it. Second is employment opportunities. People with jobs and retirees get better support while those people without jobs often get left behind. This could lead them also to commit crimes such as theft in order to survive. Third is social inequality. Inequality causes unfair access to resources and power, leading to deviance and social exclusion. For example, a rich family has better access to schools and healthcare, while the poor lacks resources. This could lead to a higher crime rate and social exclusion for those people in the poor area. Fourth is education. Schools can make things worse for those people who are already struggling. For an instance, a student from low-income family gets little support from the school, falls behind in classes, and feels discouraged, which may lead them to skip schools or get in trouble. And lastly is cultural norms. Society's rules define what's acceptable, and breaking these rules can lead to being labeled as deviant or excluded. For example, just like a person that dresses differently may be judged or left out by others. So these are just some of the socio-economic factors affecting deviance and social exclusion.
The role of inequality, deviance, and social exclusion. Inequality plays a major role influencing deviant behavior and social exclusion. When the resources like money, education, and jobs are not fairly shared, it creates an imbalance in society. People who are in disadvantaged position may feel frustrated and hopeless because they don't have the same opportunities as others. This can lead them to break the social rules as a way to cope or protest their unfair treatment. At the same time, they might experience social exclusion, where they are left out or rejected by others due to their lower status.
Deviance and social exclusion to SDG 10, reduce inequality. So understanding social exclusion as a process rather than a fixed state through sustainable development goals 10 that advocate for reduced inequality. So individuals often find themselves on a complex journey of exclusion and inclusion. These challenges can lead to feelings of disconnection and isolation that pushes individuals towards behavior that might labeled as deviant. So ongoing research and adaptable strategies are important for reducing inequality that understands relationship between deviance and social inclusion and inequality to advance SDG 10. And of course, government can create a legal and policy frameworks that promotes social inclusion. It ensuring that excluded individuals or group can equally benefit from the public expenditure. And at the same time, establishing legal frameworks that promote social inclusion and allowing communities to be involved in the policy-making process will help create responsible and strategies to combat social inclusions and deviance.